Hello, everyone. My name is Nieves Montes, and I'm a PhD student at the Artificial Intelligence Research Institute in Barcelona. And I will present to you a proposal on some work that my supervisors and I have been currently discussing on ethical values in autonomous agents, a new approach for value engineering. We participate in the EU-funded Taylor project that is focused on trustworthy AI. And so when we talk about ethics in artificial intelligence or ethical AI, we're talking a very broad field where a lot of professionals, a lot of researchers have something to say, from philosophers to lawmakers and legislators, and also engineers in the technical fields, which is where we come from. And so we focus on the area of computational ethics, which is concerned on turning ethical principles into computable entities that we can introduce into the systems that we are building. And so what we have been working on is on a proposal to engineer values into the moral values into the systems that we are designing and we are building. So the context of our work is a multi-agent system, and potentially a massive multi-agent system where we have humans, we have software agents, and AI in general that are interacting with one another, both humans with humans, but that is not our area of interest, but the interaction between the software agents themselves and software agents with humans. And we want those interactions and the behaviors that are happening in that context to be mindful of the ethical values that we want to promote in that specific context. And so when the artificial system is designed, we as humans, as designers, as engineers, are responsible for embedding the values that we want to promote into these systems. And so somehow these values need to be translated into lines of code. And so that is what we are dealing with here. And so, okay, we want to turn values, moral values, which are this very abstract concept from philosophy, into something much more tangible, which is actual code and programs that these computational systems can execute. And so to do this step, we take inspiration from the social sciences, in particular, Schwartz's theory of basic human values, which states that these abstract guiding principles that we have and have acquired through learning, through interacting with our peers, can be grounded into permanent goals that the agents pursue. And so what are these goals? These goals are kind of the manifestation of these values in the context where we are operating. They can include both what is the current state of affairs now, also it can include how we got there, so both the ends and the means. And a particular feature that distinguishes them from traditional goals in AI is their permanent status. So agents always strive to get better. And just as moral values have for us a priority and form a hierarchy, so do these goals. Okay, so now that we are proposing that abstract values are grounded by these permanent goals, and once these goals are embedded and coded into the systems, the autonomous agents have a tool to evaluate what is the current state of the world, or whether it's okay or not, and whether to do something about it. And so one of the main points of this proposal is that it is the human designer, and so it is us who are responsible for translating these abstract values into these more tangible goals. And so it is us who have the control over the meaning of the values that they will take for the agents. Okay, great. So far we have explained what we understand by values and how we intend to code them into agents. And so now let's look at a different component of the systems that we work with, that are norms, and in particular technical norms. And they are referred to as technical because they are applied to the software agents. And so what we understand by norms in our work are prescriptions, so regulations over behavior. What can and cannot an agent do under particular circumstances? And so, okay, that's very nice, but what do norms have to do with values? We want the system to be respectful of these values. So why are you talking about norms now? We focus very much on norms, and we're very interested in them because we believe that norms have the potential to be the main value promoting mechanisms, and I will now explain why. So norms have this enormous potential to promote and uphold and lead the system towards ethical behavior, because it is through these norms that the system can be steered towards outcomes that are more favorably evaluated with respect to the values that we are embedding into the agents. And so that is why we believe that norms have this very big potential. And when the norms have been chosen in a way that the outcomes they are incentivizing are very much in agreement with the values we care about, we refer to that phenomenon as the norms being aligned with respect to those values. Okay, so great. We have explained what values are, how we intend to code them. We have also explained what norms are and why do we think they are so important. But we have not explained yet where will these norms come from. And in our view, it should be the agents that are participating in this society, in this virtual society, that should have the ability to attempt to align the norms of the system towards their values. And so agents should be able and should have the social skills to propose new norms, to negotiate and bargain over them, and to agree on the norms that will be implemented. Importantly, the norms will be implemented on a social scale. That they will be the same for everyone. They might have some particular clauses that apply to some agents, but not to others. But overall, they are implemented on the whole system. And so the norm negotiation that the agents take part in is a form of aggregation over all of their values. And out of that negotiation, the norms that come out of that are a reflection of the emergent social values of the society as a whole. And so it is through this negotiation and through the bargain and agreement over norms that the agents are responsible for embedding values into the norms and not the outside designer directly. However, keep in mind that we have explained that it is the outside designer who is embedding values into the agents. And so there's kind of a transmission line of values from the outside designer into the agent and ultimately into the norms that regulate the system. Okay, so how should an agent know whether a new norm that is being proposed it should accept it or reject it. And of course, we think that in order to make that decision, the agent should look at how is this norm aligned with respect to the values that I have been provided with. And here we have a schematic image of how that computation should happen. First, the agent should be able to have an inner model of the situation, so it can predict how the environment will change once the norms that are being proposed are implemented. And then once it has built that, it can predict the outcomes that are being most incentivized by the new norms. And finally, when it has predicted those outcomes, it can evaluate them with respect to the values that it has been instilled with. And out of that assessment comes out the alignment. And depending on that quantification, the agent can decide, okay, I should accept this norm and vote for it or vote against it. So that is our proposal on how to introduce ethical values into artificial agents. And the main points of our proposal are these four. First, values should be coded as permanent goals, and those are designed by an outside human team. Second, the technical norms have the potential to promote the values that we have instilled into the system by shifting it towards outcomes that are more respectful of those grounding goals. Third, the agents should negotiate autonomously over which norms to implement on the system based on the alignment of those norms with respect to their values. And finally, this norm negotiation is a form of value aggregation of the individual values into the emergent social values. And so now I will present to you a very brief outline of some results that we have obtained very recently. First, we have we are going very shortly to present some work on synthesis of norms based on value promotion. For this work, we took the view that it is all agents who agree on the meaning that values take. Admittedly, that is not a very realistic assumption, but technically it's the most feasible one. So that is where we have started. And so the objective of this work was to find the set of norms that are optimally aligned with respect to some values that we defined. We implemented our methodology on a very simple model that emulated a tax system. And we were able to obtain norms that were very much aligned with respect to the values that we introduced, that in this case were economic equality and fairness. And second, we are currently working on the first step of computing the alignment for an agent. If you remember, when an agent had to compute the alignment of a new norm that was being proposed, the first step was to build a model of the situation that would come out of enforcing that norm. And so we are working on a software prototype for the automatic generation of those models in the form of games based on the specification of the rule configuration. And recently we have been able to obtain very nice results where we have introduced new norms and observed changes in the incentive structure in an environment that emulated an open fishery. So the message that I would like you to take home from this talk is that we are working on promoting ethical behavior for artificial systems by leveraging their autonomy. And that autonomy should come in the form of the crafting, the selection, and the negotiation over norms. However, we don't think that leveraging this autonomy is in conflict with keeping humans in controls, because ultimately it is humans who are deciding the meaning that the values should take. And so we still have a lot of work to do, and we have many open questions and many more that I'm sure will come up as we advance. We would like to go forward with a complete implementation on the computational value alignment. And an issue that we are particularly interested in is which social values arise and how do they come up as a result of the norm negotiation. And so finally, I would like to thank my supervisors, Dr. Nardin Osman and Professor Carla Sierra at the Artificial Intelligence Research Institute. And I would like to thank you all for your attention, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you very much.